One promise, 2 humans. And the universe understood it did not watch with eyes. It listened with rules, with patterns, with silent judgment. Stars were counted. Species were measured. Civilizations rose and were placed into quiet categories. Some were marked as calm, some as clever, some as dangerous. Humans were marked as unstable. They were loud. They argued with themselves. They fought even when food was enough. They asked too many questions and trusted too little. The universe decided long ago that humans were not ready. So the universe stayed quiet. On a small blue world, far from the great councils and deep star paths, a thin metal ship moved slowly through space. It was not a warship. It was not important. It carried only 2 humans and a task no one else wanted. The ship was called Drift 7. Inside the ship, Eli leaned over a control panel, his hand steady but tired. He was not old, but space had already given him lines around his eyes. He fixed broken things for a living. Satellites, relays, old machines that no longer mattered to anyone. Across from him, Mara floated with her feet hooked under a rail. She read lines of data that most people ignored, sounds, patterns, and signals that did not fit. She loved language, even when it came from machines. This relay should have been dead years ago, Eli said. No power. No reason to answer us.
Yet it did, Mara replied.
That means someone or something woke it up. Eli frowned. Or it never went to sleep. Outside the ship, the relay hung in space like a broken bone. Old metal, old code. It was built by humans long ago, during a time when they sent machines everywhere and hoped for answers. They never got any. Eli guided the ship closer. Let's fix it fast and go home. Mara nodded, but her eyes stayed on the screen. A soft sound repeated in her headset. A pulse. Slow, uneven. "Do you hear that?" she asked. Eli shook his head. "Just static."
"It's not static," Mara said. "It's trying to be something." She adjusted the filter.
The sound changed. It was still broken, still weak. But now it had shape. A pause. Another pause. Then a longer one. "It's a signal," she whispered. Eli turned toward her. "From who?" "I don't know." The rules were clear. If they heard anything unknown, they were to log it and leave. Big stations would handle it. Councils would talk. Years would pass. Mara looked at Eli. He knew what she was thinking. "If we log it," she said, "they will shut it down. And if we don't," Eli said, "we break every rule we signed." The signal pulsed again. This time it matched the old human response format. A call. Waiting for an answer. Mara's hands shook. What if no one has ever answered it before? Eli was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. "One reply," he said. "Just one." Mara sent a simple return signal. No words. Just presence. The relay woke up. Lights flared across its surface. Energy surged through lines that had been cold for decades. The ship rocked as space bent around them. "Eli," Mara said sharply, "the relay is pulling us." "I see it," he replied, fighting the controls. "I can't break free." Space stretched. Stars smeared into lines. The Drift 7 screamed as systems overloaded. Then everything stopped. Silence pressed in, thick and heavy. When Eli opened his eyes, the ship was still. Not drifting, not moving. Just held. Outside, space looked wrong. The stars were too close, too sharp. The dark between them felt crowded. "Status," Eli said. Mara checked her screens. "We are not anywhere I recognize." A shape moved beyond the ship. Not fast, not slow. "Careful." Something approached. Eli powered the outer sensors. The shape became clearer. It was a being, but not like any life from Earth. Its body bent around itself, as if holding together by choice. Light moved through its form like breath. It stopped near the ship. A voice filled the cabin. Not sound. Meaning. You answered. Mara's breath caught. It's talking to us. Eli swallowed. Who are you? The being shifted. I am called Eru. I am hiding. From what? Mara asked. From forgetting. The words felt heavy, old. Iru drifted closer. I answered many signals once, long ago. Then the hunters came. Eli frowned. Hunters? They erase knowledge, Eru said. They do not kill bodies. They remove understanding. Civilizations forget who they were. They forget what they learned. They forget their questions. Mara felt cold. Why? Because knowledge changes the universe, Eru replied. And the universe fears change. That made no sense, and yet it felt true. We didn't mean to come here, Eli said. We just answered a signal. Eru's light dimmed slightly. That signal was a warning. I hope someone curious would hear it. Mara looked at the data streams pouring in. This space, she said, it's hidden. Yes, Eru said. Erased from maps, from memory. A ripple passed through the dark.
Iru reacted at once. The hunters are near.
Eli felt a tightness in his chest. Can we leave? The relay has locked to you, Iru said. It recognizes something. Mara's eyes widened. What? Promises, Eru answered. Eli and Mara exchanged a confused glance. You said you would answer, Iru continued. You did. That matters. Another ripple. Stronger. They're coming, Mara said. Eru turned fully toward them. If you leave me, they will erase this place. Me. The warning. Everything. Eli did not think long. We won't leave you, Mara looked at him sharply. Eli, I said we won't, he repeated. The moment the words left his mouth, the space around them shifted. The relay glowed brighter. The hunters paused. Eru pulsed with surprise. You made a promise. Yes, Eli said simply. The universe noticed. Far away, forces older than stars adjusted their attention. Something small had moved, and the pattern felt it. Mara stared at the readings. Eli, she whispered, the universe just changed its behavior. The hunters advanced again, slower now. Eru's voice softened. No one has promised me help in a very long time.
Eli set his jaw. Then let's not break it. The dark closed in.
And for the first time in ages, the universe did not know what would happen next. Eli and Mara had expected to return to familiar space, to stars they knew and the quiet hum of routine. Instead, the relay had taken them to a place that had no name, no map, and no history in any record they had ever seen. The stars outside the Drift 7 were too bright, too close, as if space itself had been folded and pressed into a new shape. Dark ripples moved like water, not light, and the faint echoes of distant pulses whispered in languages neither human had heard. Mara stared at the readings, her fingers trembling slightly. This space, it doesn't belong to anyone, not even humans. Eli's hands moved over the console, trying to stabilize the ship. The metal groaned under pressure that should not exist. I know, and something else is here. I can feel it. A light moved along the edge of their sensors. It was not the normal flash of stars or a satellite. It had form, as though someone had drawn a shape in the air with thin threads of light. Mara's voice was barely audible. Who's there? The light changed, bending toward the ship. Slowly, deliberately, a being appeared outside the viewport. Its shape was strange. It seemed to hold itself together by thought rather than matter, folding and unfolding, stretching and shrinking like liquid glass. Its color shifted between shades that humans could not name. Its presence filled the cabin in a quiet way that pressed on the mind more than the eyes. I am Eru, the being said. The voice did not come through speakers. It spoke directly into understanding. I have waited long for someone to hear me. Eli frowned. Why are you here? Eru's form pulsed gently. I am hiding from hunters. Mara shivered. Hunters? Iru's light dimmed. They do not kill the body. They erase memory, understanding, knowledge. Civilizations disappear as though they never were. They are older than most stars. They watch the universe and punish curiosity. Eli's jaw tightened. And you are hiding because you listened when I called, Iru said. Because you answered without knowing what it would cost. That is rare, very rare.
Mara's mind race.
So just by answering we alerted them? Yes, Iru replied. And yet you also gave me hope. That is dangerous for them, for you, and for the universe. The cabin grew still. Even the faint hum of the Drift 7 seemed small compared to the weight of Iru's presence. Mara could feel her thoughts slowing, the way a river slows before a waterfall. They're coming, Iru said after a pause. Soon. Eli leaned back. Then what do we do? You must keep your promise, Iru said. The universe listens. Promises made by humans carry weight. Mara's eyes widened.
Promises. You said you would help, Eli said automatically. We will help.
That is enough. Iru's form brightened, as though the light itself felt relief. Yes! Enough to delay them. Long enough to act. Long enough to survive, maybe.
Outside, the dark space twisted.
Ripples formed like waves in a silent sea, and distant lights moved faster than the human eye could follow. Mara checked the instruments. Eli, the hunters, they are real. They are here. They know we are here. Eli nodded, his hands steady now despite the fear. Then we keep moving. We protect Iru. That is our promise. The being Iru shifted closer, almost touching the Drift 7 with tendrils of light. I cannot leave.
They would erase me. But you can carry knowledge.
You can carry understanding. The universe can shift with your promise. Mara swallowed hard. Shift? The universe can respond to humans? Yes, Iru said. Because humans are different. You do not obey the pattern without question. You ask, even when you are punished. You hope, even when the pattern punishes hope. That is why they hunt knowledge itself. That is why they fear you. Eli stared at the pulsing form. Then, what do we do first? Iru's shape rippled like water. We leave this region. I know a path that is hidden from hunters. But you must act fast. They will arrive soon. They sense the disturbance you caused. They feel your promise. Mara turned to the controls. Fast enough? Fast enough to survive, maybe, Eli said. We don't have to understand it all. Just do what we can. The Drift 7 moved slowly through the folded space, following Iru's guidance. The stars outside bent and twisted, as though gravity and light had forgotten the rules. Mara felt the pressure in her chest, a low hum that seemed to echo in every thought. Iru guided them through corridors of dark energy that were invisible to sensors until the ship had passed. Here, Iru said. The hunters cannot see well, but they feel traces of the pattern. You must not linger. Suddenly the ship's alarms blared. Mara jumped to the console. Sensors! Something is tracking us. Iru's light flickered urgently. Hunters! Too close. You must move faster. Do not stop. Do not hesitate. Trust your promise. That is all they cannot erase. Eli pushed the engines harder, but space itself resisted. Stars twisted. Gravity bent. The Drift 7 shuddered as if the universe itself had hands and was trying to hold them in place. Mara gritted her teeth. We are moving, but they are still following. Iru pulsed brighter. They will slow if you keep your promise. You must keep it. That is the key. Ellie's hand shook slightly, but he pressed forward. We keep it. Always. No matter what comes. The ship slid through a hidden passage, invisible and silent, guided by Iru's knowledge. Mara watched the stars bend around them, her mind unable to fully process what she saw. It feels Impossible, she whispered. Iru's voice was calm but heavy. Impossible is their word. Humans make the impossible. That is why the universe notices you. That is why I can hope. A pulse hit the ship suddenly, shaking it from stem to stern. Mara grabbed the rail. They are here. They found us. Outside, waves of light twisted in strange patterns. The hunters had arrived. They were not like any creatures humans had imagined. Their presence was knowledge itself, their movement erasing certainty. Instruments failed, lights flickered, and Mara felt her thoughts stumble. Eli gritted his teeth. Hold steady. Trust the promise. Nothing else matters. Iru's glow shone brighter, and for a moment the hunters paused. The universe hesitated. Mara could feel the difference. Time itself seemed to slow, not because of gravity, not because of speed, but because the universe was listening. You see, Iru said, humans are not like others. Your promise matters. They cannot fully erase that which is given freely. That is why you survive. Mara's hand shook, but she held the controls steady. We will not fail. Eli nodded. No, we keep our promise. Nothing else can matter. The hunters advanced again, slower this time. Their movement tore at the edges of reality, but the Drift 7 held, protected by a fragile web of human resolve. Iru's light pulsed in response, stabilizing the space around them. Eli and Mara worked together silently, trusting instinct and each other. The universe itself seemed to bend toward them, holding back forces that should have destroyed them instantly. Mara realized something terrifying and beautiful at once. They were not just passengers in the universe. They were participants. Their actions, their choices, their promise, they shaped reality in ways no one else could. The Drift 7 moved through corridors of light and dark, invisible to all but the most ancient eyes. Mara checked the readings again. We are still in danger. They will not give up. Iru's glow softened. No, they will not. But the promise is enough to slow them, enough for you to learn, enough for you to act. Keep moving. Keep hope. That is the human way. That is why the universe notices you.
Ellie glanced at Mara. Then we keep going?
Together. Whatever comes, we do it together. Mara nodded, gripping the console. Together. And for the first time in a long while, the humans felt a quiet strength. Not from weapons, not from technology, but from something older than the hunters themselves. Something that the universe had not expected. Promises had power, and humans kept them. The Drift 7 moved through space unknown, carrying Iru in a truth that could not be erased. The hunters followed, but the humans were not afraid. Not completely. The universe was watching, yes, but now it was watching them with curiosity. And for the first time, humans understood that curiosity had value beyond survival. Eli pressed a hand to the console. We will make it. We have to. Mara glanced at the pulsing light of Iru. We promised, and we will not break it. Outside, the hunters paused, hesitated, and the stars seemed to hold their breath. The universe waited, and for now, the humans led the way. The Drift 7 moved silently through the folded space, carrying Eli, Mara, and Iru deeper into a region that had been erased from all memory. Stars curved and twisted outside, shapes bending in ways that should have been impossible. The humans could feel the weight of it, the heaviness of space that was both alive and waiting. Mara studied the readings on the console. Every system here is strange. Gravity, light, even time itself seems different. Ellie's hands flew over the controls, keeping the ship steady. I know. But we have to keep moving. Iru, where are we going? Iru's light pulsed slowly. There is a place safe from hunters, but it is hidden. Few have survived to see it. If you promise to help me, I will guide you.
Eli glanced at Mara.
Their unspoken agreement was simple. We promised. We will keep that promise, no matter what. Iru's glow brightened almost like a smile. Then follow me. Carefully. Quickly. They moved through the strange corridors of space, even shaping invisible paths that sensors could not detect. The hunters followed behind, unseen but felt, their presence pressing on the Drift 7 like a cold hand. Mara could feel her mind shiver. Every thought slowed, as if the hunters were trying to erase her curiosity before it could act. Suddenly a wave of energy hit the ship, shaking it violently. Lights flickered, panels sparked, and the ship groaned under pressure. Mara grabbed the rail, heart racing. "They are here!" "They found us!" Eli held the console steady. "Keep calm. Trust the promise. That is all we have." Iru's voice filled their minds. "Do not fight with weapons. They do not respond to force. They respond to understanding, to certainty. Your promise carries weight. Let it guide you."
Mara frowned.
"Understanding? How do we fight understanding?" Eli shook his head. "We don't. We survive by being human. By keeping our word." The hunter's presence twisted the fabric of reality. The stars outside bent, disappearing, reappearing. The Drift 7's engines strained against forces that had no name. Mara felt a wave of fear. "We can't hold them off forever." "You are not holding them off," Ayaru corrected. "You are moving them slowly. Your promise is stronger than their erasure. That is why they hesitate." Ile swallowed hard. "Then we keep moving. No stopping. No doubts." Ayaru guided them through a dark rift that sensors could not read. The universe itself seemed to bend around them, forming protective corridors that only humans could pass. Mara noticed something strange. The more they trusted the promise, the more stable the path became. It was as if the universe recognized their resolve and adjusted itself to protect them. "They are learning," Iru said softly. "They sense your determination. They fear that which they cannot erase." Mara's voice was quiet. "So, the promise matters more than our technology?" "Yes," Iru replied. "The hunters cannot erase a promise freely given. That is why humans are dangerous. That is why they are feared. Not for strength, not for weapons, for trust, for action, for hope." A sudden pulse shook the ship. Mara's hands flew over the console. "They are accelerating. They are breaking the space around us." Eli gritted his teeth. "Hold steady. Keep your mind clear. Focus on the promise." Iru's glow pulsed rapidly. "You must do more!" "The universe notices humans who act when others hesitate. You are bending it, shaping it. Move faster. Keep hope. Do not falter." The Drift 7 slid through a corridor of shifting light. Mara could see the hunters as vague forms beyond the walls, shadows that twisted knowledge itself. They reached toward the ship, trying to erase it, but they could not. Eli's words had weight. Mara's promise had power. Eli glanced at Mara. "Do you understand what is happening?" Mara nodded slowly. "The hunters, they cannot erase us completely. Not while we act on the promise, not while we believe." Iru's glow brightened like a rising sun. "You are changing the rules. The universe notices when humans keep their word. The pattern reacts. That is why I survived long enough to meet you." A sudden shock hit the Drift 7. Panels flickered, and the ship tilted violently. Mara held onto the console. "They are forcing reality to bend." "We can't," Iru said firmly. "Because you are humans. Because you are willing. Your promise is alive. Let it guide the ship." Eli's hands moved over the controls, steady, precise. Mara focused on the readings, following the invisible corridors Iru had shown. The hunter's power bent around them, slowed, and then fractured. A moment of calm returned, strange and fragile. "They will not give up," Iru said, "but they are uncertain now. Your action has caused hesitation. You have begun to shape the universe itself." Mara's voice was trembling but firm.
Then we keep going. We cannot stop.
"We promised." Eli nodded. "No matter what comes." The Drift 7 moved deeper, following Iru's guidance through areas erased from all memory. Mara noticed small things, stars that pulsed like heartbeats, gravity that flickered like a candle and echoes of knowledge that should not exist. "They call this place the Forgotten Corridor," Eru said. "It is where knowledge hides when the universe fears it. You will not survive here by strength or by skill alone, only by acting on your promise." Eli glanced at Mara. "We are ready. Whatever comes, we hold the promise." Suddenly the hunters appeared ahead, not fully, but enough for the humans to sense them. Shapes of pure thought, bending the laws of reality, reaching toward them. Mara's heart pounded. Eru's voice cut through. "Do not panic. Your promise shields you. Let it guide your action." Mara felt the truth of it. The ship moved almost on its own, guided by their belief, by their will to keep the promise. The hunters could not touch the Drift 7 directly. They could feel it, react to it, but they could not erase it while the humans acted in unison. Eli gritted his teeth. "Then we use that. We move. We act. We survive." Mara nodded. "Together. Always." Eru's light pulsed brightly, and for the first time, the hunters paused. Their movement slowed, shadows bending on themselves as though uncertain. The humans felt a strange calm. The promise held them safe. "You see," Eru said, "humans are unlike any other species. You act even when the universe punishes action. You trust even when knowledge is dangerous. That is why the pattern reacts. That is why you survive." Mara glanced at the controls. "We are shaping space itself. Our promise is bending the universe around us." "Bah." "Yes," Eru said. "And it is only the beginning. If you keep this promise, if you act with courage and trust, the universe may finally notice something new. Humans as participants, not subjects." Eli's voice was calm but strong. "Then we keep moving. We keep the promise alive. Nothing else matters." Outside, the hunters shifted again, advancing, retreating, uncertain. The Drift 7 moved through corridors of light and shadow, invisible, protected by the human resolve that had no parallel. Mara realized something terrifying and beautiful at once. The universe itself was responding to them. The pattern which had ruled for millennia faltered at the weight of a human promise. "They will come again," Eru said softly. "They always do. But they cannot fully erase what is given freely. Your promise is a seed. It grows with every act, every choice, every word." Ellie glanced at Mara. "Do you understand what this means?" Mara nodded slowly, eyes wide. "We are more than we thought, not because of power, not because of weapons, but because we keep our word." The Drift 7 slid through the dark corridors deeper into the unknown, carrying Eru, carrying knowledge, carrying a truth that had survived, despite the hunters' best efforts. Eli pressed a hand to the console. "We will not fail. We keep our promise." Mara's fingers hovered over the controls. "And the universe watches. It will understand, eventually." Iru's glow pulsed with quiet approval. "Yes, and perhaps one day all will learn from humans, as I have." The hunters paused again, sensing the disturbance. The humans moved forward, unbroken, their promise alive. And for the first time, a small corner of the universe noticed that humans acted not because they were strong, but because they were willing to keep their word even when the universe itself seemed to oppose them. The Drift 7 moved on, and the universe waited curious. The Drift 7 slowed as the space around it began to change again. The strange corridors that once felt narrow and tense now opened into something wider, calmer, but far more dangerous. The stars were fewer here. Darkness filled the space between them like a deep ocean. Mara felt it pressing against her thoughts, not heavy, but watchful. Eli noticed it too. "This place feels different," he said quietly, "like we stepped into someone else's mind." Iru's light dimmed slightly. "You have entered a listening zone. Many paths cross here. Many minds pass through, but few speak. The hunters watch places like this carefully." Mara tightened her grip on the console. "So we are not safe." "No," Eru replied, "but you are noticed." That word echoed in Mara's thoughts. noticed. She checked the long-range scans again. Signals were appearing, faint and strange. They were not hunters. They were not human either. Eli, she said, her voice low.
Other ships, not close, but aware.
Eli leaned closer. Can they see us? They can feel us, Eru said. Your promise creates a mark, not a signal, a presence. As if called by the words, a soft glow appeared far ahead. It was steady, calm, and careful. The Drift 7 drifted toward it without engines firing, guided more by intention than force. A new voice entered the space, gentle but cautious. Unknown travelers, the voice said. You move in forbidden paths. State your purpose. Mara's heart raced. This was not human language, yet she understood every word. She answered slowly. We are explorers. We answered a call. We are trying to protect knowledge. There was a long pause. Then the glow shaped itself into a ship, smooth and curved, made of materials that shifted like flowing stone. Another presence joined the first, then another. They surrounded the Drift 7 at a respectful distance. I am called Lio, the voice said. I studied the pattern, and you are breaking it, Eli swallowed. We are not trying to break anything. Leo's presence flickered. That is what makes you dangerous. Iru drifted forward, his light steady. They are human. They keep promises. At the word human, the surrounding ships reacted. Energy pattern shifted. Fear. Curiosity. Old stories awakening. Leo spoke again more carefully now. Humans are marked as unstable. Curious. Excessive. You were never meant to reach this far. Mara lifted her hand. Then why are we still here? Silence followed. Finally, Leo answered. Because the universe hesitated. The word sent a chill through Eli. The universe hesitated? Yes, Leo said. When the hunters moved against you, the pattern slowed. That has not happened in ages. We noticed Iru's light pulsed.
They carry a promise.
It shields them. The surrounding ships drew closer. Leo studied the Drift 7 carefully. Promises are weak things, Leo said. Words fade. Memory fades. Only the pattern endures.
Eli spoke firmly.
Not for us. That simple sentence changed everything. The listening zone trembled. Space bent slightly, like a breath taken too sharply. Mara's screens flashed warnings, then settled again. Leo pulled back. You see, Leo said, quietly, this is why humans frighten us. You speak as if certainty is a choice.
It is, Mara replied.
We choose it. Another long pause followed. The listening zone filled with silent tension. Somewhere far away, a ripple passed through the dark. The hunters were moving again. Iru sensed it at once. They are near. This place will not remain hidden. Leo's tone sharpened. Then you must leave. If the hunters find you here, they will erase this zone.
All who listen, all who question.
Eli clenched his fists. We can't. If we leave now, they will follow us and erase others. Mara turned to him. We didn't come this far to run. We promised to help. Iru's glow flared. This choice matters. Leo hesitated. The surrounding ships shifted uneasily. If you stay, Leo said, you endanger us all. Mara met the invisible gaze. If we leave, we betray what makes us human. That word again. Human. Lio studied them longer this time. You speak of humanity as if it is a force. It is, Eru said softly. You have forgotten. The listening zone shuddered. The hunter's presence brushed against the edges now, like fingers tapping on glass. Mara felt her thoughts blur for a moment, then return sharper than before. They are trying to erase us already, she said.
Yes, Iru replied.
But they are struggling.
Lio's voice grew tense.
This is impossible.
The hunters do not struggle. They do now, Eli said. A sudden wave of darkness swept through the zone. One of the distant ships flickered and vanished. Not destroyed. Forgotten. Mara gasped.
They erased it. Fear spread among the remaining ships. Leo's presence trembled.
We must decide, Leo said urgently. Now. Eli did not hesitate. We stay. We draw them to us. We protect this place. Mara stared at him, fear and trust fighting in her eyes. Then she nodded. Together. Iru's light expanded, wrapping partially around the Drift 7. Then listen carefully, Iru said. The hunters cannot erase what is shared freely. If others choose to listen, to act, the pattern weakens. Leo understood at once. You want us to choose? Leo said. To act, not observe. Yes, Mara said. To stop hiding. Another ripple hit the zone. Stronger. The hunters were pushing harder now. Reality bent sharply. The Drift 7 shook violently. Alarms screamed. Eli fought the controls. We don't have much time. Leo made a choice. All listening ships, Leo broadcast. Open shared channels. Share thought. Share memory. Share choice. The response was slow, fearful, but it came. One by one, the ships opened themselves. Knowledge flowed. Doubt. Curiosity. Questions long buried. The listening zone changed. The darkness pulled back slightly. The hunters slowed. Mara felt tears sting her eyes. It's working. Iru glowed brighter than ever. Yes, the universe responds to shared trust. Humans reminded of that. The hunters pushed again, furious now. Space cracked like thin ice. One hunter form emerged clearly for the first time. It was vast, cold, and empty, a shape made of erased thought. It reached towards the Drift 7. Eli stood from his seat. He did not know why. He just did. You won't take this, he said aloud. The hunter paused. Mara felt it. Everyone felt it. The pause. The hesitation. You cannot erase a promise, Eli continued. We choose to keep it. The hunter recoiled slightly, as if burned. Leo watched in shock. You are speaking to it. No, Iru said. He is reminding it. The hunters withdrew a small distance, regrouping. The listening zone held, damaged but alive. Silence fell again. Leo spoke softly. We have lived in fear for too long. Mara exhaled slowly. So has the universe. Iru drifted closer to the humans. You have changed this place forever. But the hunters will return, stronger.
Eli nodded.
Then we keep going. Mara looked at the stars. Fewer now, but brighter. We don't stop. The Drift 7 powered up slowly. Around them, the listening ships remained open, connected, aware. The hunters watched from a distance, uncertain. For the first time in a very long time, the pattern was no longer absolute, and the universe, once silent, leaned in to listen. The Drift 7 left the listening zone slowly, as if the space itself did not want to let it go. The shared thoughts and open trust behind them still glowed faintly, like embers that refused to die. Eli kept the ship steady, but his mind was heavy. What they had done could not be undone. The universe had felt it. Mara watched the stars return to more familiar shapes, though they still looked sharper than before. They are following us, she said softly. Iru did not need to check. Yes, the hunters do not forgive disruption. They will come in greater number now.
Eli nodded.
Then we lead them away from others. That choice will cost you, Iru replied. Eli did not look away from the controls. We already chose. The space ahead darkened. Not like empty space, but like a wall made of absence. The Drift 7 slowed on its own, systems resisting forward motion. Mara frowned. What is this?
The boundary, Iru said. Few cross it willingly.
Beyond it is the core flow of the pattern, where the hunters were born. Mara's breath caught. You never said we were going there. I did not think you would choose it, Iru replied honestly. Eli let out a slow breath. If that's where they come from, that's where we go. The boundary reacted to his words. The darkness rippled, then parted just enough for the Drift Seven to slip through. On the other side, everything felt wrong. There were no stars, no distance. Space felt flat and deep at the same time. Mara felt like her thoughts echoed too loudly, as if the universe here listened too closely. This place feels unfinished, she whispered. Yes, Iru said. This is where the pattern is strongest and weakest. The hunters arrived almost immediately. Not one, not two, many. Their presence pressed down like a crushing weight. Mara struggled to breathe, her vision blurring as thoughts tried to slip away. Eli grabbed her hand. Stay with me. She nodded, focusing on his grip, on something real. The hunters did not rush. They surrounded the Drift Seven, forming a silent ring of erased certainty. The largest among them moved forward. It did not speak, but meaning flooded the space. You should not exist here. Eli swallowed, but did not back down. We exist because we choose to, the hunters reacted. The ring tightened. Iru drifted forward, his light flickering under pressure. They cannot erase you fully, he said to the humans. But they can try to break your will. Mara felt it then. Doubt creeping in, fear whispering that they were wrong, that they were small, that the universe was too large to change. She shook her head. No. The simple word steadied her. The hunter pressed closer. Your promise is inefficient, the meaning said. It creates instability. Good, Eli replied. The universe needs it. The hunter recoiled slightly. That hesitation sent a ripple through the boundary. Something deep within it stirred. Iru's light flared. You feel it, Iru said. You always have. You were never meant to rule forever. The hunters reacted sharply. The ring closed, and the Drift Seven shuddered violently. Systems failed. Lights went out. Alarms screamed, then died. Silence. Mara felt herself slipping. Memories blurred at the edges. She clung to one thought. Eli's voice. The promise. I won't forget, she whispered. Eli pulled her close. I won't let you. The universe paused. Not time. Not space. Something deeper. The hunters froze. From the darkness beyond the boundary a presence stirred. Not a being, not a voice. A response. The pattern shifted. Mara gasped as air rushed back into her lungs. Lights flickered on. Systems stabilized, not fully, but enough. What just happened? She asked. Iru's light dimmed, exhausted but alive. The universe listened. It does not often do that. The largest hunter withdrew slightly. You are dangerous, the meaning said. Not because of power, because of choice. Eli met the presence without fear. We choose to help. We choose to remember. We choose to keep our word. The hunter hesitated again. That hesitation spread through the others. The ring loosened. Iru understood. They cannot erase forgiveness, Iru said softly. It is not part of their design. Mara looked up sharply. Forgiveness? Eli felt it then, a strange calm, a certainty deeper than fear. He stepped forward again, though there was nowhere to step. You were created to protect the universe, he said. You lost your way. We forgive you. The boundary trembled violently. The hunters reacted as if struck. Some pulled back, others flickered, their forms unstable. The meaning returned, fractured now. Forgiveness was not calculated.
Exactly, Ellie said.
That's why it works. The universe shifted again, not dramatically. Suddenly, like a thought-changing direction. The hunters began to dissolve, not destroyed, but undone. Their certainty weakened, their purpose unraveling. Iru watched in awe. I have never seen this. Mara felt tears on her face. Neither has the universe. The largest hunter remained, trembling. It reached out once more, not in attack, but confusion. What are we now? Eli answered without hesitation. Something that can choose again. Silence followed. Then the hunter withdrew completely, dissolving into the boundary, leaving behind not emptiness, but possibility. The boundary itself softened. Light returned. Distance returned. Stars began to appear, faint but real. The Drift 7 floated, damaged but intact. Mara laughed weakly. We're alive. Eli let out a long breath. We are. Iru drifted closer, his light steady again. You have changed everything. The hunters will not vanish at once, but they are no longer absolute. Mara wiped her eyes. What happens now? The universe will learn, Iru said. Slowly, painfully, but it will learn. Eli looked at the stars forming ahead. And us? You carry the change with you, Iru replied. Others will feel it. Other species will begin to question. The pattern will adapt. Mara smiled softly. All because of one promise. Yes, Iru said, and 2 humans willing to keep it. The Drift 7 powered its engines carefully, moving away from the boundary. Behind them, the universe did not close the door completely. It left it slightly open. The hunters watched from a distance now, no longer certain, no longer supreme. For the first time in its long existence, the universe was not afraid of being understood, and that frightened it more than anything else. The Drift 7 moved on, carrying hope, carrying doubt, carrying a promise that had already changed the shape of everything. The universe followed, trying to understand what humans had always known. That choice mattered. The Drift 7 moved slowly through familiar space again. The stars looked like they always had, though Mara noticed something had changed. The light was sharper, more alive, as if the universe itself had taken a deep breath. Behind them, the boundary remained, a memory in the void, still humming faintly with the echoes of promises kept. Eli leaned over the console, tired but steady. We did it, he said quietly. We survived. Mara shook her head, still amazed. We did more than survive. We changed something. Iru floated near the cabin, his light soft and calm. Not just something. Everything. The pattern is no longer absolute. It will not erase freely given understanding again. You too have made that possible. Eli exhaled slowly. It doesn't feel real. How can a promise change the universe? Iru's light pulse. Because humans are different. You choose when others obey. You act when others hesitate. You trust when others fear. That is why your promise carries weight beyond measure. Mara looked out at the stars. And the hunters? They are gone? Not gone, Iru said. Weaker. Confused. Their purpose fractured. They will return someday, but they will no longer control the flow of knowledge. That is no longer theirs to hold. Eli felt a strange calm. So the universe is listening? Yes, Iru replied. And it will continue to listen, because now it knows humans act differently. It knows that choices, words, and promises can shape reality. Mara smiled softly. I never thought a simple promise could do so much. Eli's eyes met hers. It wasn't just the promise. It was us. Together. That is what mattered. The Drift 7 powered forward, returning toward known space. The stars outside grew familiar, the constellations slowly resuming their ancient positions. Yet something lingered in the darkness beyond, the faint echo of possibility, of knowledge flowing freely, of minds once hidden now daring to think. Iru's voice filled the cabin again, calm and warm. You carry change with you. Other species will notice. Other civilizations will question. Others will begin to act freely. You have set a chain in motion. Mara thought about Earth, about the small blue planet spinning quietly below the solar system. Will they understand? She asked. Will humans, or others, notice what we did?
Eli smiled faintly.
They will. Slowly.
But they will. And maybe that is enough. Iru's glow brightened for a moment, almost like a smile. The universe will learn patience, but it will remember your actions, your promise. And it will value what humans have shown, not strength. Not power, but willingness. Courage, trust, hope. The Drift 7 entered normal space, the engines humming softly. Earth came into view, calm and blue, alive. Mara exhaled, tears forming, not from fear this time, but from relief and wonder. Eli reached for her hand. We made it. Home. Mara nodded, her eyes bright. Home. But also something more. We've changed more than we realize. Iru floated closer. Yes. You have not only survived, you have shown the universe that understanding can exist without fear. That knowledge can be shared freely, that the pattern is not absolute, and that humans can be trusted to act with purpose, even when the universe itself hesitates. Eli laughed softly. Trusted by the universe. That sounds unreal.
Perhaps, Iru said.
But it is real, and it will endure. The pattern has shifted. Not entirely, but enough. Enough to give others the chance to think, to question, to act. Mara looked at the stars stretching beyond Earth. And the hunters? They watch, Iru replied. But they no longer hold absolute power. They have learned caution. They have learned uncertainty. And perhaps one day they will learn understanding. Eli shook his head with a small smile. It's strange. We risked everything, faced forces older than stars, and all it took was keeping our word. Mara laughed softly, the tension melting from her shoulders. Humans always underestimate what they can do. Iru's light pulsed gently. You do not just survive because you are clever or strong. You survive because you act with purpose, with hope, and with trust. That is why the universe now notices you. That is why it listens. Eli looked at the view of Earth growing larger in the viewport. And now we continue. We live. We share. We act. That is enough.
Mara smiled.
Yes, that is enough. The Drift 7 moved closer to home. The universe stretched before them, vast and alive, a living web of stars and knowledge. Far away, distant civilizations began to stir, sensing the shift. Some questioned, some hoped, some listened for the first time in centuries. And somewhere in the silence the hunters hesitated, uncertain, no longer absolute. Eli leaned back, exhausted but content. We kept our promise, he said quietly. And the universe?
Understood. Mara rested her head on his shoulder. We did more than we imagined.
We didn't just survive. We changed everything. Iru floated nearby, calm and steady. And that is why humans endure. Not because of strength, not because of fearlessness, but because you act when others do not. Because you trust when others hesitate. And because you keep your word, even against the impossible. Ellie closed his eyes for a moment. Then we keep living, and we keep acting. That is all we can do. The Drift 7 passed into orbit, Earth's oceans gleaming below. The planet was quiet, unaware of the shift in the wider universe. Yet its people were now connected to something far larger, far older, and far more alive than they could imagine. Mara looked out at the world below. Do you think they'll understand one day? They will, Eli said firmly. Slowly, but they will, and the universe will too. Iru's light pulsed one final time, steady and calm. You have done what no other species has. You reminded the universe that understanding, hope, and trust are as powerful as any force. You reminded it that humans are different, that humans endure. Ellie and Mara exchanged a quiet smile, hands still entwined. Around them, space stretched endlessly. Behind them, the hunters lingered, uncertain. Around them, civilization stirred, questioning, hoping, learning. And above all, the universe itself paused, listening, learning, and for the first time, understanding. The Drift 7 glided quietly above Earth, carrying 2 humans, 1 promise, and a universe that now knew something it had never known before, that life could choose, that understanding could flourish, and that even the smallest act of trust could echo across the stars. And as the planet rotated below, warm and blue, Eli whispered softly, "We did it." Mara rested her head on his shoulder. "Yes, we did it," and the universe understood. The stars above shimmered quietly, no longer silent observers, but witnesses to a simple truth. The universe could be trusted, because humans had kept their word. The promise endured, and so did they. The universe watched, and it waited, patient, curious, and forever changed.